Police court, state calls Bonnie Jameson.
Does the defense wish to make an opening statement this time?
Your Honor, the defense is going to reserve its right to make a statement.
Please call your first witness.
Bonnie Jameson.
Ma'am, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
I do.
Good morning, ma'am. Please tell the jury your name.
Bonnie Lynn Jameson.
Ms. Jameson, do you live here in Dallas?
No, I don't.
You have come from out of town. Where are you from?
I'm Springfield, Illinois.
Ms. Jameson, I need to get you to speak up just a little bit so everybody can hear you, okay?
Okay.
You doing okay up there?
Yeah.
Okay, just take a deep breath, all right? Now, Ms. Jameson, I want you to tell the jury a little bit about your family. Are you married?
I am.
Do you have any children?
I have 5 children, 4 daughters.
Tell the jury about your family, your children.
They're all pretty awesome kids, professionals. Sorry. I've always said in the past that I've had children that actually wore halos on their heads because they honestly have never ever had a problem with my children.
How old are your children now, Ms. Jameson?
My eldest daughter is 41. Kendra would have been 38. Ashley is 39. Neil is 36. And Melissa her birthday's this week and she'll be 26.
Do you have any grandchildren?
I do have 5. I have 2 granddaughters and 3 grandsons.
Ms. Jameson, that's a pretty big family. Are you all very close?
We are. There's over 100 family members just on our side alone.
Well, I want to ask you about your daughter, Kendra. What was Kendra's last name?
Hatcher,
When was Kendra born?
February 3rd, 1980.
Hatcher, where did Kendra grow up?
In Springfield, but we ended up going to Plains, so she went to Pleasant Plains High School. All my kids graduated from Pleasant Plains High School, a small town.
You guys still in the same place you were while all the kids were growing up?
Oh, yeah.
Now tell the jury a little bit about how Kendra came to be in Dallas.
Well, Kendra, she was always an overachiever. She went to Pleasant Plains. She graduated from high school. She was salutatorian, number 2 in her class of 104. And she always looked at the medical field. She couldn't decide where she wanted to go to college, but her uncle actually had graduated from DePaul in Indiana, and he too is a doctor. So her Uncle Ralph was telling her that would look like a great school for her to attend. So she went to DePaul. She achieved many scholarships, the Bonner Scholarship. She was always her love language is service, so she always was there to help people. She was on a mission trip to Spain to help the unfortunate little kids there, even though Kendra never had any children of her own.
Ms. James, let me back up just a little bit. What was her profession and all of her studies and her sense of service? Where did that lead her?
Led her to dental school at UK. so that she decided she wanted to be a dentist.
When did she graduate and become a dentist?
May of 2010.
Now, Ms. Jameson, what was there any specific area or field of dentistry that Kendra got into?
Pediatrics.
And how did she choose pediatrics?
She loved children, even though she never had any of her own, but she loved her nieces and her nephews with all of their heart, and they loved her too. They were like her own children. She always loved kids, but she never did have any of her own.
Mayor, may I approach you with this? Jameson, I want to show you a couple of pictures. I'm going to start with State's Exhibit number 1. Who is that a picture of?
That's Kendra.
Okay. And State's Exhibit number 2, who's this a picture of?
That's Dr. Kendra Hatcher.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, State offers State Exhibits 1 and 2.
No objection.
Well, Ms. Jameson, so we kind of see both Kendras. We see
Yeah.
Dr. Hatcher in State's Exhibit 2, and we see the personal life of Kendra Hatcher. So tell the jury a little bit about some of the things that she did in her career as a pediatric dentist.
Oh, golly. Some of the things that she did in her career, she just loved working with the kids, and the kids loved her. Kendra would send me pictures of letters that the little kids would actually tell her, "Thank you, Dr. Hatcher. It was so fun being at your dentist there in your dental chair." I had made her some little dental teeth that she could give to her patients just to put a little smile on their face.
Your Honor, I would have to respectfully object this as being irrelevant. Not
So, Ms. Jameson, I want to kind of move forward. At what point did she move to Dallas?
She moved to Dallas in 2011.
Why did she come to Dallas?
She actually was, she had a bachelor's degree in Spanish, and she was bilingual, and she felt that she could actually communicate with the less fortunate kids, the little Spanish-speaking children.
Is that why she went to Spain and went to Ecuador?
Yes,
Tell
yes.
me what she was doing down there as part of her practice dentistry.
She was down there in Spain. She had went down there for actually a semester in college. She was chosen to take the mission trip down there, and so many pictures of her and the little Guatemala, or the Spanish children. And then she took another trip to Guatemala that she was chosen to go down on, and it was working with the kids in the dentist's office down there, the less fortunate ones.
Ms. Jameson, we talked about Kendra coming to Dallas, and she came to Dallas because of her Spanish ability to help people. Where was she practicing in the Dallas area?
The Smile Zone. She had also been to, they were all Spanish-speaking offices. The Smile Zone was the last one that she was at. She was also with one of the other friends that sit back there. I can't think of his office name. Another dental office. Can't think of the name of it right now.
Ms. Jameson, I want to switch gears just a little bit to the personal side of Kendra. Was she married or involved with anybody at the time?
She had, no, she was not married. She actually, we always have a big family fall thing. Fall was Kendra's favorite time of the year. And she had been calling me about twice a week, actually, the other kids too. telling us that she had met someone, and I could just tell that Kendra was head over heels with Ricky, as we called him. She had called actually on Monday, which would be the Monday before this happened, and said that she had booked a flight and she was bringing Ricky home to meet us. And I knew right then and there that, and I even asked her, I said, Kendra, this is really serious, isn't it? And she's like, well, she said, I just want him to come home and meet you all and show him what a festive time that we do for the fall, because being in a small town, it's all pumpkins and apple cider and fall fires and that sort of thing. So she was really anxious to bring him home to meet us.
Ms. Jameson, I want to move to a very specific date. I know this is a very difficult day for you, but that's September 2nd, 2015. How did you find out what had happened to your daughter?
My husband was working out of town that night, and I heard the doorbell. Well, I heard my cell phone ringing. My cell phone was downstairs. We have a 2-story house. I heard my cell phone ringing, and I thought that was kind of odd being late at night, because I go to bed like at 8 o'clock. And then I heard my doorbell ringing, and I thought, oh my gosh, I was scared out of my mind. And so I went down the steps and I crawled across the kitchen floor to grab my cell phone. And I heard my son-in-law yelling my name, Bonnie, Bonnie, open the door. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Jeff. And I looked up out of the window, and my oldest daughter was out in a car. She was hanging out the passenger side. And so I ran to the door, and Jeff came in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? And I thought it was my husband. And they're like, my daughter came in, she's like, Mom, just sit down on the couch. And I'm like, tell me what's wrong. And it took them 2 hours until my husband got home to tell me what had happened. So needless to say, we were all pretty devastated. My son had gotten a call, and they had called my daughter, and my daughter and her husband came over, because, of course, you don't make a phone call like that.
Ms. Jameson, I want you to take a deep breath, because I need you to tell the jury what is it that you found out happened.
Well, after my husband, he had to drive 2 hours to get home that night, and Jamie wouldn't tell me, and Jeff wouldn't tell me anything. And I thought at first it was Dave, but they're like, no, Mom, just sit here until Dave gets here. And so when my husband got there, he came in the door, and Jamie had me on the couch, and she said, Mom, it's Kendra. And I said, no, not Kendra. And they said she was shot. And I'm like, what? What do you mean she shot? And Jamie said she didn't make it. And that's all I really remember. I remember that so well. And so Jamie and Jeff, my son-in-law, my husband, just sat there with me, and I just ran outside and screamed. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. That's how I found out.
Ms. Jameson, that's all the questions I have for you today. I thank you for taking this time.
Okay, thank you.
I pass it over to you.
sorry, did you call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor, called Hashem Saad.
Please raise your right hand, sir. You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Speak in this microphone. This moves up. Would you introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Hashem Saad.
And for the court reporter, would you spell your first and last name?
Yes, sir. I'm Hashem, Hashem, and my last name Saad is Saad.
Mr. Saad, I'm going to ask you some questions about where you were living back in September of 2015. Do you remember where you were living?
Yes, sir.
And where was that?
That was the Gables Park 17 apartments.
And is that apartment building, it's a tower?
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And were you living with your father at that time?
Yeah, at that time I was.
And where in the Gables was his place?
25th floor.
That would be one of the penthouse suites?
Yes, sir.
And at the Gables, if you had a penthouse suite, did you have your own reserved parking space?
Yes, sir, he did.
How long did you live there?
Approximately about a year, probably even less.
You no longer live there now?
No, sir, I live by myself.
Does your father still live there?
No, he moved to Highland Park.
Now, I'm going to take you back to September the 2nd of 2015, and you remember that day? Mm-hmm. You have to say yes.
Oh, yes, sir, sorry.
She's taking down everything you say. Mm-hmm. So,
I understand that, yeah.
But you do remember living there in September the 2nd of 2015?
Yes, sir.
And you remember the events of that day?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jury what you were doing that day?
Right before the event happened, I was going to go get my hair cut. But other than that, I was at the house all day.
And when you say you were going to get your hair cut, whereabouts were you going to go have that done?
In Irving. I always get it at a JT Boss Cuts in Irving off Walnut Hill.
And about what time of day were you making a move to go do that?
It was about, the sun was coming down, so I'm going to say 6, 7-ish.
And were you by yourself or was anyone else with you?
I had a friend with me at the moment.
What was that friend's name?
Billy. Alfred, I think his last name is. I'm not sure about his last name.
And where does Billy live now?
I have no clue. Last time I heard he was in California, but he could have come back here.
So you two of y'all obviously have not stayed in touch with each other.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you are leaving to go get your hair cut, obviously 25th floor, you're going to take an elevator.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Where was your father's parking spots at the gate?
Right in front of the elevator doors.
Can we approach the witness, Your Honor? So it was marked as State's Exhibit number 6, and I'll ask you if you recognize that.
Mm-hmm, I do.
And show me, and we'll show the jury, just about where your parking spot would be.
Right across the doors right here. It's either here or where that Cadillac is.
And which doors are we referring to?
These doors right here.
Does this photograph accurately represent the parking space and parking lot as you would call it?
Yes, sir.
Now, we'd offer State's Exhibit 6.
Okay.
Mr. Saad, you can see right next to you there's a screen. And you can touch and show the jury where was your parking spot.
So we'd either be right here where the Cadillac is, or we'd be right here, and we entered through this door.
So tell them what happened as you are coming down the elevator.
We just came down an elevator like any other day. Once we came out, just immediately you heard screaming, but it didn't sound like human. It sounded more like an animal. So obviously we're going to be looking over in that direction, and all you hear is pop, pop, which is 2 shots, and then it's just quiet. So once we heard those 2 pops, we ran to our vehicle, got in the car. By that time, the vehicle that was up top of the parking lot, it came down, took a left, and then went back around. By that time it got behind us, we pulled out, and no, go ahead, sorry.
Let's break that down a little bit. So as you exit the elevator doors, you hear a gunshot.
No, we hear screaming. That's the first thing. That's the first thing.
And when you say it didn't sound like human screaming, what?
Like she was out of breath, basically. Like she was that scared to where she couldn't really scream, where she was out of breath, basically.
And then the next sounds you hear, did you immediately recognize those to be gunshots?
Oh yeah, immediately, because it's 2 pops. What else could that be in a parking garage?
And what's your response to hearing those gunshots?
Straight to the car.
Why?
Just, there's nowhere else to go. There's just safety.
And as you go straight to the car, what do you recall seeing?
We got in the car, turned the car on. The car that was up on the first level begins to come down. It takes a left, so it's coming behind me.
Okay.
Go
Let
ahead.
me stop you there. That car that's coming down, you said it's on the next level. So you're at the bottom level of the parking garage.
Yes, sir.
And is there a ramp that goes up to the next level?
Yes, sir.
Is that ramp area, is that where you saw the vehicle you're describing?
Yes, sir.
What kind of vehicle was that?
To be honest with you, I can't recall, but if I were to, it would be maybe a Jeep Cherokee.
And what do you see that Jeep Cherokee do?
I didn't see it. I heard it, but what I saw was him coming down really fast. His tires screeched. He came down, took a left. Once he was behind me going past me, that's when I pulled out, and then he went to the left of the parking lot, like this, in a square, and became behind me, and that's when I started going out.
Are you pulling out of your parking space like, in an effort to get away from this Jeep?
Yes, sir.
And why are you concerned about the Jeep?
Because you don't know what they could do. They could fire at you, they could fire the gun. You just don't know, any situation could happen at that moment.
Now, is there anything else that you did as you're leaving your parking garage?
First thing I did was call 911. Immediately I went to just a public place just so I can be recognized, just in case anything, and just called 911. After that, went on the highway. They told me to come back and talk to them, and that's what I did.
Your approach to this one? I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibits 10, 9, and 8. Do you recognize what you're seeing?
That's the lower, below me?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the lower parking lot.
In that lower parking lot, that's the same lower parking lot that you were parked at and then ended up leaving from. Now, at this time, we offer States 10, 9, and 8.
No objection.
Okay.
Looking there for you at States 10, can you kind of show the jury where that parking lot, what part of the parking lot that we're looking at?
And this is level 1, correct? Okay. So level 1, it's just a gate, so you'd be coming into it. That's P2? That's P2? Okay, that's the lower level then. We'd be parked on where those doors were, like you saw, and from there it's just a square, and that just goes down. Unless you guys have a better picture. Let me see.
In States 9? Is that showing a view of if you were going to the right, the bottom level of the parking garage?
To be honest, I don't recall.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. Now, you told the jury that you made a 911 call. Were you able to give any kind of descriptions on that 911 call?
Yes, sir.
And their approach from it?
You may.
We should have marked at States Exhibit 3. Earlier this morning, you had an opportunity to listen to the 911 call. And did that refresh your memory in terms of what you said, how you said it, when you said it?
Yes, sir.
And that recording, did it accurately reflect what you told the
Yes, sir.
911 operator? Appear to be altered in any kind of way?
No, shouldn't have been.
And that's your voice?
Yes, sir.
All right, this time we'll go State Exhibit 3. Press publish.
Hi, someone just got shot in the parking lot of the Gables Park 17 in the P1.
Okay, sir, I need an address.
1700 Cedar Springs Road. Yes ma'am, I just left because I heard a loud noise and a girl screaming and then I passed it, I think.
Okay, did you see someone that was shot?
Yeah, she had a bullet. She had like a little hole and there was blood coming out of her throat. It's people, they had a mask on. I think it was a black Jeep Cherokee and it's off like a 93.
Which way did the Jeep Cherokee go?
Out of the garage building to the park.
Did it go past Caroline Street or St. Paul?
I think St. Paul. I'm not sure though. I'm not completely sure.
Okay, where's the lady that was shot?
The lady's in the Gables Park 17 apartment building on 1700 Cedar Springs Road.
Is it 17?
No, 1700 Cedar Springs Road. That's the street.
Okay.
And the apartment building is called Gables Park 17.
Gables Park 17?
Yes, ma'am. And she's in the garage where you have to like have a garage opener to open the door.
Is there only one level?
There's 3 levels. If you go into the first level, if you're gonna make a left, you have to make a left regardless, and she's right there.
So she's on the first floor?
Yes, the P1, like parking 1, like in the garage.
Could you tell where she was shot at?
I think in the neck. I'm not sure, but I saw a black Jeep Cherokee right out, and when I passed them in the garage, they had like these masks on and they took it off.
Could you tell if they were men or women in the car?
It was I think a man. Like I'm pretty sure a man. Like he looked like a.
Did he look like he was black, white, or Hispanic?
He was white. He was white. He had a zip up hoodie on.
He had a what on, sir?
A zip up hoodie with like a.
Hoodie.
Yeah.
What's a hoodie?
It was black.
And you said what kind of mask?
It wasn't really a mask. It was like one of those zip up hoodies, you could say.
Uh-huh.
It had like an outline of like drawings on the outline of it, like a Jameson mask, you could say. Hello?
Okay. What's your name, sir?
My name is Hashem Saad. I left the building because I got scared to meet my friends, but I'm not about to go get my haircut. But I heard.
Is anyone with the female that was injured?
No, ma'am. I mean, I can go back if you want. Because I don't know, all I heard was screaming and then a loud pop, and then I saw her laying on the floor, and it was like red, like blood coming out of her neck. And her phone's on the floor, her car door was open. I don't know what happened.
What did you see? What color her car was?
It was what color was the car? It was silver. It was a Chevy, I think. It was a silver Chevy, a Chevrolet. It was like silver goldish, but I'm pretty sure it's silver.
A silver Chevrolet car? It's a pickup truck?
It's like a regular like Chevy, like a Chevy bomb.
Like a fire van?
Yeah, it's like a Chevy Malibu, you could say. She's just there. Like, her car's parked. Her car's parked. She's next to her car. The door was open, and she was laying on the ground next to her door. Like, I remembered it, like, vividly.
Okay, spell your last name for me.
Saad, S-A-A-D.
And your first name?
Hashem, H-A-S-H-E-M.
And your phone number, sir.
214-796-9241.
Okay. Can you still see her or no?
No, ma'am. I'm on the highway. I'm on the highway right now. I exited the building.
Okay.
I live there, so I don't know what happened. But
And
yeah.
I have the address of 1700 Cedar Springs, P1 of the garage,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's the Gables Pack 17.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you so
All
much.
right, Mr. Sahi, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye. Johnson, where's emergency?
Hi, someone just got shot in the parking lot of the Gables Park 17.
And what kind of vehicle were you in, Mr. Saad?
In a silver Corvette.
Now, this apartment tower, the Gable 17, it's in the part of town known as Uptown,
Yes, sir.
and that's not very far from here, is it?
No, not that far. About like 10 minutes.
That is in Dallas County,
Yes, sir.
Dallas, Texas?
Yes, sir.
State of Texas.
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
Mr. Saad, you testified today that as you came out, you said that before you had entered into the vehicle, that's when you heard what you thought was a dog howling, and then you heard, you described today you heard 2 pops, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall previously stating that you heard only 1 pop?
It could have been 1. It could have been 2, but I mean, I heard the pops regardless.
Okay, but I'm just saying, that today you were pretty definitive that you thought you heard 2.
Well, it was, to be honest, it was 3 years ago, so I can't recall.
Okay. And Ms. Saad, that's what I want to make sure is about some of these details. I want to just make sure that we're talking about actual details instead of just really quick remembrance. Okay? Because you recall that after this happened, you not only called 911, but you also had opportunity to speak with a detective down at the police station.
Yes, sir.
And did you know that that was being videotaped and recorded?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall, or did you have an opportunity to go back and listen to that?
Not to the one at the detective's office, no, sir.
Well, I want to talk to you about a couple things, and particularly after you heard what the pop that you heard that you described for the officer back then and that you described to the jury. Could you tell the jury how long it was before that vehicle actually made it down to the level that you were on?
That was like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It was there. I mean, right after the pop, it was a door close, screeching of tires, and then already in my sight.
Okay. Well, back on the 2nd of September 2015, when you spoke to the police, you told the police officer there that after you heard this, y'all got in the car and just sat there for a little bit and listened. Do you not recall that?
No, we did. We sat in the car. Once the car came behind me, then we pulled out because we wanted to make sure we were safe overall over everything.
Okay, but what we're talking about here is different, is certainly different than when you say that we got in the car and just sat there and listened for a minute before we did anything, before we saw anything else. You agree with that, wouldn't you?
Not really, because we only sat in the car for about 5-7 seconds. We didn't even sit for like a full minute. I mean, right when they came behind us, we pulled out.
And you're saying that because with your testimony being that, and just a moment ago when we were talking about the number of gunshots, which obviously would have been one of the most important things that was struck out in your memory from that event, wouldn't it be?
Really, the most vivid thing was her, really.
Okay. But my point being, sir, is that when in describing what you observed, you described hearing 2 shots today, and when I brought back your recollection about what you had told the police on the day that this happened, you said that you heard 1 shot, and you said, well, that was 3 years ago, maybe I was mistaken. When we're talking about the amount of time that passed, today you say it happened instantaneously, but you said then after my questioning about your statements to the police that we sat in the car and listened for a bit, then you come back and say, well, no, it was just instantaneous. Is it possible that your memory is clouded in regards to the elapsed time to the same extent that it would have been to the number of gunshots?
No, it's not really clouded. It's just, in that situation, everything's happening so quick, you're not really focused on the gunshots. All you hear is the pop and you're focused on yourself. But once you're driving out, I mean, you see someone on the floor lying there, you're going to try to help them. But if you can't, then it's, you try to help them another way.
And you said that you said this vehicle came down into the lower level by where you were, and then did you have an opportunity to see who was in the vehicle?
No, sir.
Couldn't tell at all?
Nope.
You recall giving a description to the police back on September the 2nd?
Yes, sir.
How is it that you were able to give them a detailed description back on September the 2nd, but today you say you didn't see anybody?
It's not really I didn't see anyone. Their windows are tinted. They're also wearing zip-up masks. So it's not like I can see them perfectly, picture perfect. I mean, I can't really tell.
Well, in fact, back when you talked to the police, you said that you really couldn't see who was in the vehicle. You recall that?
Yep. But I also said it was a white male.
A white male that was doing what? Where was that white male at your thing?
Just driver's seat.
White male in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
And the vehicle came down, and you were still in the pulled facing into the wall in the parking spot.
Yes, sir.
You had started the vehicle. You hadn't.
No, the car was started. Once we got into the vehicle, the car was started. We were just parked facing the wall. Once the car came down and came behind us, that's when we pulled out because they had to make a left and then another left and then another one to make the right out of the parking garage.
So that vehicle came down and made 3 left turns in the parking garage. That's pretty good sized garage down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that car traveled a pretty good distance when you were still sitting there in the same spot before you pulled out, correct?
Right when it first made that first left turn, that's when I pulled out.
Okay. So when you pulled out, then describe what happened. When was the next time you saw that vehicle?
I never saw the vehicle after that.
Never saw
It was behind me after that. When I pulled out, I took a left. I went into the restaurant right across the apartments, and he took a right. And after that, I didn't see him.
Okay. As you exited the garage, did you see any other vehicles?
No.
And did you know that vehicle was behind you when you left the garage?
The Jeep? Yes, sir.
That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
And just so that we're clear, Mr. Saad, your vehicle as it's parked in that parking garage, is the front end of your vehicle facing the wall?
Yes, sir.
So the events that you are describing, are you watching those events from the rearview mirror?
So like I said, when we first came in, we weren't even in the car. So those events were going on when we were out of the vehicle overall. Once we got into the vehicle, that's when they started coming down. So we started pulling out right when they got behind us and like went past us basically. Right when they took that first left, we reversed and went out of the parking garage.
So is it a fair statement that some of these things you were seeing looking directly, and then some of these other things you're seeing because it's in your rearview mirror?
Exactly, yes.
Now, in terms of your memory being cloudy, is your memory cloudy at all about hearing gunshots?
No, definitely not that. That's like for sure I heard that.
Is your memory cloudy at all about seeing a body laying on the ground of that parking lot?
No, sir.
And is your memory cloudy in terms of this obviously being somebody that had just been shot?
No, sir.
Have some witness.
I have no further questions.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down. You may stand down, sir. You're here with the witness.
There's witnesses, excuse me.
Good.
Call Larry Swan.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this cause will be true?
I do.
Good morning. Would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Larry Splon.
And would you spell your last name for the court reporter?
It's S-P-L-A-W-N.
And Mr. Swan, how are you employed?
I was the security director for the 1717 McKinney office building.
And what types of security apparatus do they have for that complex?
Access and video.
And the video itself, would you on occasions have to review what's on video and even sometimes download what's on video?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And were you employed in that manner back on September the 2nd of 2015?
Yes, sir, I was.
And earlier today, you had an opportunity to review some videos from your parking lot. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And did that video that you're looking at, did it accurately reflect, one, how your equipment was working that day, and two, the parking garage?
Yes, sir, it did.
Did it appear to be altered or deleted in any way?
No, sir.
Your approach to witness, Your Honor.
No.
So you see how this is labeled parking garage surveillance video. That's what you reviewed.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, this time we'd offer State's Exhibit 19.
No objection.
Amended.
Here we approach, Your Honor.
Amen.
Mr. Spahn, I also want to show you State's Exhibit 21. I think you reviewed that also this morning, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
Your Honor, we would offer State's 21.
I'm sorry, what is 21?
Parking.
Another video?
No objection.
Admitted.
Request to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
Now, looking at the screen right off to your right, to your left, Mr. Swan, right next to you.
Here, sir.
Okay, sure.
Can you see that?
Yes, sir, I can.
And what is that showing?
That's the camera view from our executive parking.
And on the other side of that iron fence, what is that?
That's the parking area for the Gables Apartments.
And so your camera is capturing that portion of the Gables apartment garage as well as portions of your parking garage.
Yes, sir, it is.
Do you see that white vehicle that just drove through?
Yes, sir.
And then we have a second white vehicle that drives through. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you see movement in that?
Yes, I do.
Does that look to you like to be an individual who was walking down the parking ramp of that parking garage?
Yes, sir, it does.
Do you see those lights come on?
Yes, sir.
And then do you see the vehicle start to back out?
Yes, sir, I do.
Did you see that individual walk back to that car?
I did.
Do we see or did you see any other individuals get out of that vehicle?
No, I did not.
And do you see that vehicle proceed down towards the end of the ramp?
Yes, I do.
And what kind of vehicle is that, Mr. Sloan?
Appears to be a Corvette.
Thank you, sir. And what kind of vehicle does that appear to be?
Dark colored Jeep Cherokee.
Thank you, sir. We'll pass the witness.
I have no question.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down and be free to leave the courthouse.
We call Brad Hill.
Good morning, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Brad Hill. I'm currently a firefighter paramedic with Georgetown. I worked in Dallas, probably been about a couple of years now since I left Dallas for Georgetown.
You say Georgetown. Where's Georgetown located?
Just north of Round Rock, north of Austin.
And how long have you been with that department?
Coming about a year and a half.
How long had you been with the Dallas Fire Department?
I want to say about 5 years at that time prior.
I'm going to turn your attention, Mr. Hill, to September the 2nd of 2015. Were you a member of the Dallas Fire Department at that date?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember getting a call, service call, to the Gables apartment?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a description of what kind of call you were heading to?
The dispatch, I believe, read gunshot wounds, possible GSW.
And describe for the jury what you did when you got to that scene.
We arrived on scene. Me and my partner, our engine crew was with us as well.
I'm sorry, who was with you?
Our engine crew.
Mr. Hill, if you could leave.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our engine crew was with us. We arrived on scene. We didn't really have any direction. We just knew it was in the parking garage. And so immediately we had all of our equipment and we started walking around trying to find where it was. We couldn't find anybody. I believe it was an officer on a bicycle who found the victim and brought us over to her. And when we found her, initially the driver's side door was open and her upper part of her body, her torso, she was laying on her back, was underneath that door. When we realized that she wasn't breathing, we noticed there was some trauma. We slid her back maybe about a foot just for us to get to her so we could start working.
Could you tell at that time that it was a gunshot?
We did see a trauma wound here in her chin, but that was all we saw. And we did see some blood on scene.
And did you begin to try and treat?
We did. For about 30 seconds, like I said, we moved her where we would have access to her. I believe we closed that door, the driver's side door. Partner started compressions. I got an IV access pretty quick. I think maximum time of working was about a minute before we realized there was more blood coming from around the back of her head.
What made you realize that?
As he was doing compressions, blood was recirculating, and we noticed there was a lot of flow coming from behind the patient. That's when I took my hand, reached back behind, felt the wound in the back as well, and at that time we did see some matter and some signs incompatible with life, so CPR ceased at that time.
You know, you tell the jury that it was apparent to you at that point that there wasn't anything that could be done to
Yes, sir.
bring her back.
Correct.
Our approach with this, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm going to show you photograph, State's Exhibit 56, and ask you if you recognize that photograph.
Yes, I do.
And does this photograph accurately represent the scene that you came upon back on September the 2nd, 2015?
Yes, sir.
Do we see in the photograph any evidence in terms of, you said you pulled her back somewhat. What would indicate that?
You see the pool of blood right here where this door was open. This is where she initially was, and we couldn't get to the other side of her to do what we would call good CPR. So we slid her just out enough to where my partner could be on one side and I could be on the other.
All right, read off the State's Exhibit 56. Now, there's going to be a screen that pops up, and you'll be able to see that photograph. What you told us is indication of the body being dragged. Could you show the jury that?
Yes, sir. If you see this initial spot of the blood.
You can touch this.
Oh, sorry. About right here. And this is where she was still up underneath there with the garage, with this first door open. was where we initially felt for a pulse and we didn't have one. So we don't waste a lot of time. Once we don't feel a pulse, we immediately want to start working. So we moved her, I guess that's about a foot and a half, drug her out to where we could have access to both sides and start our job.
Tell the jury what is that lined up next to her body? We see several articles.
This is a BVM, just a bag valve mask we use to breathe. I get that ready because once I had access, my partner started compressions. Immediately I get access so we can start administering our drugs, our protocols for this type of incident. Once I get that access, I start to breathe for the victim. And it was about that time was when we noticed this was going to be.
And none of that equipment was brought out until after you kind of repositioned where she
Correct.
was.
Well, we have the equipment on our shoulders. It's just we set it down and we initially we approach the patient and see exactly what we have. And once we realize what we have, he started the compressions. I started grabbing everything that we would need.
Pass the witness.
I have no questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down. You're free to leave the courthouse.
Thank you.
State will call Michael Welch.
Good morning, sir. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Tell the jury your name.
Michael Welch,
And for the court reporter, would you spell your last name?
W-E-L-C-H.
And obviously, you're a sergeant with the Dallas Police Department.
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been with the Dallas Police Department?
16 and a half years.
Where are you assigned presently?
Currently, I'm assigned to the Southeast Patrol Division, 3rd Watch.
How long have you been assigned to Southeast Patrol?
Just under 3 years.
Can you tell the jury what that means when you say you're assigned 3rd Watch? What is 3rd Watch?
3rd Watch for us is the evening shift. We start at 3 p.m. and we have two different segments of officers that come on. First one comes on at 3 and ends their shift at 11. Another segment comes on at 4 and ends their shift at midnight.
And what parts of Dallas does Southeast?
Southeast, yes, sir.
What parts of Dallas does Southeast cover?
Starts off at Fair Park, goes into parts of South Dallas, and goes out to Pleasant Grove.
Back on September the 2nd of 2015, where were you assigned?
Central Patrol Division.
And can you tell the jury what Central Patrol Division, what area that covers?
Yes, it is downtown, encompasses downtown up to where the American Airlines Center is, over into the Oaklawn area, over to Old East Dallas that ends at White Rock and is down in the Cedars, which is just south of downtown at op points in between.
Back on that day, September the 2nd, 2015, do you recall getting a call or dispatch call to go to the Gables apartment?
Yes, sir.
And why were you dispatched to the Gables apartment?
The response to a shooting call of somebody had been shot.
And were you by yourself or did you have anybody with you?
I was a field training officer at the time, and I had a rookie with me.
And back on that day, were you also wearing a body cam?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jury what the body cam does and how it's activated?
It's activated when we have to manually activate it. There's an on button. We have two different styles of cameras. The style of camera I had fit on the front of your uniform and has a greater field of view. We also have a different type of camera that looks like a stick. It goes on your, you can wear them on glasses or on your collar, and it has a narrower field of view and it usually only captures one side. It does it, if it's on your glasses, when you turn, you'll see what it sees, but if it's on your collar, you're just going to see what's in front of that collar.
And you had activated your body cam?
Yes, sir.
And earlier this morning, did you have an opportunity to come down there, Approach Room?
You may.
Earlier this morning, did you have an opportunity to come down here and review your body cam?
Yes, sir.
From that date?
Yes, sir.
And did it appear to be, well, actually, did it appear to depict the scene as you recalled it
Yes,
from
sir.
that day?
Yes, sir.
Did it appear to be altered or disrupted in any manner?
No, sir.
Do we hear your voice on this body cam?
Yes, you do.
All right, we'd offer state to 33.
Objection.
do?
Commissioner Bubbles? Back in September of 2015, body cams were fairly new equipment for police officers.
The particular style of camera that I had, had just gone to that particular style. We had other ones before that were in a test phase that they were working on phasing out.
And do we still stay, in 2018, do we still have officers that are waiting to receive body cams?
Correct.
And what we saw here, is that the extent of your involvement in this case?
After this particular, when the video ended, my trainee that I had, the parking garage went further down underneath, and we went down there and blocked it off and made sure no other vehicles came up into the scene to possibly come through wherever the crime scene, or that particular crime scene.
And that apartment tower, the Gables, located in Dallas County, state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Pass, please.
I have no questions for this witness.
Thank you, sir. You can stand down. You're free to leave the courthouse.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next witness, sir.
Yes, sir.
State calls Abe Santiago.
Come forward, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
I
I do.
Thank you. Please take a witness stand.
Morning, sir. Please tell the jury your name.
Good morning. My name is Abe Daniel Santiago.
Mr. Santiago, how are you currently employed?
I was employed by the Dallas Police Department,
When did you leave Dallas PD?
July 3rd.
Of this year?
Yes,
Is that retiring?
yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
At the time you left DPD, where were you assigned?
I was assigned to the Dallas Police Crime Scene Unit.
Tell the jury, first of all, what a person assigned to DPD to the crime scene unit does.
We respond to any type of offense. Initially, I worked property crimes early on, and then crimes against persons. We respond to those calls and collect evidence, record by way of photograph the scene, and try to come back with anything that we might find that is of evidentiary value.
Tell the jury a little bit about what type of training and experience you have to be a person working in the crime scene unit.
Well, there is primarily on-the-job training initially, but you will do schooling prior to that in crime scene police work.
What was your title there, DPD?
A crime scene analyst.
How long were you a crime scene analyst there at DPD?
Approximately 12 years after property crimes.
Were you a police officer or were you a civilian?
On the civilian side.
Tell the jury what the difference is.
On the civilian side, we do have police officers and civilians working in crime scene. The officers might have come from patrol initially and then transferred to the crime scene unit. Civilians may just step directly into crime scene if they have proper schooling and credentials to do so.
How long were you in the crime scene unit?
Total, about 22 years.
22 years. So you retired this year. I'll do the math. That goes back to 1996?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Santiago, in your 22 years with DPD and the crime scene unit, how many crime scenes do you think you processed?
Quite a few.
Hundreds, thousands?
I would say in the thousands, unfortunately, yes.
I want to direct your attention to a particular crime scene in Dallas County, Texas at the Gables Park Apartments, September 2nd, 2015. Were you assigned to respond to that location?
Yes.
What was the nature of the call that brought you out there that evening?
It was a body found at a garage location.
Was it a homicide location?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Mr. Santiago, I'm going to show you States Exhibits 4 and 5. These are just a couple of maps. Do these maps show the location that you responded to there in Dallas?
Oh, yes, they do.
This is kind of the uptown area is what we're looking at.
Yes, it is.
Staff says Exhibits 4 and 5.
Okay.
Let me start with States Exhibit 4, so we can kind of orient ourselves here. That's uptown. That's Will Rogers there. We can see where. Will Rogers is there. Our location's here. Victory Park over here. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So zoom in a little bit. I'll show States Exhibit number 5. We've got Ackard running this way here, right in front of his area.
Yes.
And then Woodall's this big road running right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Mr. Santiago, I want you to explain to the jury the process you went through as part of your duty in responding to the location.
responding to the location, officers are at the scene already, securing the scene. I try to contact the first responding officers at the scene to give me what information they might have. They've set up a perimeter waiting for us to respond, in this case myself, from the crime scene unit. As I approached, I found a garage with a gate, different location cameras, and cars parked throughout the garage.
So explain to the jury what you're doing when you get there. What's the first step you take?
My first step is to start taking photos of the location as I approach it, after I've gotten the initial information from the responding officers. I start recording by way of still photograph what I am seeing as I progress to the scene.
And as you walked around that parking garage documenting the scene, did you come upon a body?
Yes, I did.
Describe for the jury what you saw.
As I entered the garage and made the turn at the final ramp, I went left, past several cars, and then noticed a white vehicle, and on the driver's side of the vehicle, which was away from me, as I passed the vehicle, I then saw a person, a body laying on the ground next to the vehicle.
May I approach you on it?
You may.
Mr. Cynthia, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 70 here. Is this a diagram to kind of help the jury understand where things are on this part of the garage?
Yes, it is.
And in here is depicted where the body was located.
Yes, it does.
Officer State Exhibit 70.
No objection.
Just so we can see here on State's Exhibit 70, which direction did you come from to approach the body which we see here? Did you come from the left or the right side?
The right side.
Okay, from this direction, and is, jury's seen some pictures and videos, is going to the left, is that sort of the down slope?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you photographed and documented the scene, is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to approach again.
You may.
I'm going to show you 36 photographs here. These are State's Exhibits 36 through 69. And we've talked about these before. Do these 36 photographs fairly depict what it looked like and what you saw when you went to the location at the gate?
Yes, they do. Yes.
Thank you. State Office 34 through 69.
I said 36.
I'm sorry, there are 36 photographs. They begin at the State's Exhibit 34.
No objection.
Admitted.
we're going to publish these photographs to the jury.
You may.
Detective, I want to start with State's Exhibit 34. Which we'll see. Tell the jury what they're looking at there.
That is the, from the street, the parking garage entrance.
And off to the right would be where Woodall is. I guess that's kind of south is to the right.
To the right, yes, sir.
Go to State's Exhibit 35. This is sort of, just for reference, we're just sort of moving in to that garage. Is that right?
Yes, progressing in there, yes.
And on 36, what do we see here?
Approaching the gate
Now, I want to make
at the
reference
entrance.
specifically what I've just circled there, and then I want to show you State's Exhibit number 37. What is that?
A surveillance camera.
Why'd you take a picture of that?
At our scenes, depending on what they are, we will take photos of cameras if they're at the location. We'll take photos of surveillance cameras that might be there.
For reference, that's 34 again. Excuse me, that's 36 again. We'll move forward to 38. Is this the gate there that we had seen earlier?
Yes.
Now, I want to make reference to where the bicycles are. Is that a gate into the parking garage there on the a walking gate, I guess, on the right?
That appears to be, yes, sir.
Okay, so in State's Exhibit 39, are you standing at that gate?
Yes.
Tell the jury what they see there.
They're looking at the farthest, the longest distance where the vehicles are the ramp where I turned left and went down the ramp to find the car and the person there on the ground.
Now, the ramp that goes downhill that the jury saw in State's Exhibit 70, is that all the way back? Is that the farthest back?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
And then here we also see, is that another road going down that way?
That is another level, parking level, yes.
And as you go in the gate on the left, is before that road we just referenced there, is there the first road there?
There is the first row, yes, sir.
So the first row, the middle one, and the back one, which is the one that slopes down.
Yes.
Let me show you State's Exhibit 40. We can see a little bit more light there. See those rows more clearly?
Yes.
Now, I want to jump forward to that back row, the one that you went to where you found the body. I want to go to State's Exhibit 41. What do we see in State's Exhibit 41?
That is once I turned left on the ramp and went down several cars on the right, you'll see a white vehicle with a black vehicle parked next to it. The white vehicle driver's side is where we found our deceased person.
State's Exhibit 42, is this the vehicle?
Yes, it is.
And you just look front, State's Exhibit 43. Now, I'm showing these pictures. Why are you walking around the vehicle and taking these pictures? Here's 44.
Before anything is done to the vehicle, we take photos of the vehicle before it can be moved or anything changes after the time I've gotten there.
At this point, you know, when you're taking these pictures, are you picking anything up, touching anything, moving anything?
Trying to picking up ideas in my mind as to what I have on there, but not actually touching anything. Nothing is being moved or touched after I've gotten there until it's photographed.
You State's Exhibit 45, we're continuing around the vehicle.
Yes.
Let's go to State's Exhibit 46. What do you see in 46 here?
There I had noticed a red mark on the passenger door handle.
Referring to what I've said?
Yes.
Showing 47 here, and a close-up.
Yes.
Why are you taking a picture of this?
In order to record for future what it may turn out to be. It could have been paint from another vehicle, or it could have been possible blood or any type of substance we needed to look at.
48 for reference, you have a ruler there so we can kind of see how big that is.
A scale, yes, sir.
Let me go to say 49. Now this is the front passenger side door and window.
Yes, sir.
Now, what do we see on the side of the vehicle there? It looks kind of like the car's dirty.
The vehicle is being processed while I'm photographing for possible fingerprints or any other type of evidence that might be on it.
So this is 50. What are you taking a picture of here?
Showing the interior as it was when I got there.
And we're looking at the passenger seat.
Passenger seat and passenger side dash and floorboard, yes.
51, it looks like you've got something lit up there. Explain to the jury what they're looking at.
That was a fired cartridge casing, God bless you, a fired cartridge casing on the floorboard, passenger side floorboard of the vehicle. And I'm using artificial lighting, a flashlight to focus in the photo.
52, closer up version of that cartridge case you said?
Yes, sir.
That's basically from a gun. When a gun fires, it ejects the cartridge case, and
Yes,
not uncommon to collect those at scenes where there's shootings.
not uncommon.
Now, did you, Mr. Santiago, actually collect that cartridge case at the scene?
No, I did not.
Why not?
At the scene, we would need a search warrant to enter the vehicle. So anything that was inside of it would remain inside of it, which is why photos were taken of it as it was, so that later, after receiving a search warrant to inspect the vehicle and search the vehicle, we could then look for those same items that were in my photographs prior to the search warrant.
Now, let me move forward to number 53. Here, and this is the vehicle again. Now we can kind of see for reference. I want to move to 54 as we move around. Tell me what we see in 54.
The vehicle with the driver door slightly ajar and the deceased young lady.
Mr. Santiago, it looks from the picture like there's kind of a slant from right to left, sort of downhill. Is that a camera angle, or is that actually how it is?
That's actually how it is.
On 55, what do we see here?
The same vehicle with the deceased young lady there.
Now, what is the dark colored material there to the right of the victim's head?
That is, at the time, we have to call it possible blood because we never know what, in crime scene, we do not assume it's blood until it's been tested or it can be determined where the solution or fluid came from, but it is a large puddle of blood now.
Mr. Santiago, off to the left in the photograph, to the left, and that's Kendra Hatcher in that picture. But to the left, there's some plastic bag-looking material. Do you know what that is?
That appears to be Dallas Fire Rescue material that might have been left behind from after resuscitation was attempted.
Now, 56, the jury's already seen this, but we'll slide around with this different angle here to show 56. Now, are you able to, I guess let me ask this, you don't touch the body, do you?
No.
Why not?
The body belongs to the county medical examiner's office, and so we do not add any more to the body at the scene by way of hair, fiber, DNA, or anything from ourselves. We do not come in contact with the deceased.
Now, I want to go to State Exhibit 57, and a witness had testified earlier that he saw blood apparently coming from the neck of Kendra Dutcher. I want to move to 57. It's a little bit more close up in this picture. So in 57, we see it. Do you see what appears to be a wound on the chin there?
Yes.
Just based on your training and experience, and having processed so many crime scenes, could you tell what that might have been?
It appeared as though it might have been, when I was at the scene looking at her, that it might have been an exit wound.
What's an exit wound?
Where a fired bullet or projectile might have exited from. So in this case, it appeared that it might have exited from the chin.
Mr. Santiago, State Exhibit 58, I want to make reference here for the jury to see. At this point, are there any items that you can see around the body that you believe in your experience and training that might have some evidentiary value?
Yes, there were some items there.
Describe those items to the jury.
What's to the left of her left leg or foot appeared to be a magazine, a pistol magazine. 2 or 3 foot up from it, still on the left side, there appeared to be what turned out to be a fired bullet. And further up was a cell phone close to the left side of her head.
So let me go to State Exhibit 59 here. Now, we see 3 markers with a 1, 2, and 3. Explain to the jury what they're looking at.
These item markers are placed there so that 1, we can record in photograph, and 2, on paper, what the items were and what number they had assigned to them for future recollection.
In 60, I'm going to show that up close there. What is that?
That is a pistol magazine.
Is it loaded?
Yes.
How many, how much ammo was in it? How many cartridges? How many bullets?
I would have to refer to my supplement just so I don't misspeak.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Number 2, this placard here that we had seen referenced, number 2, in State Exhibit 61.
That is a fired bullet fragment.
So at this point, you've observed a fired cartridge case on the floorboard of the passenger side of this vehicle, and now next to the body you found what appeared to be a fired bullet?
Yes, sir.
Let me go back to 59 for reference, and I want to refer to number 3, the placard there that says number 3, and then go to State's Exhibit 62. What is State's Exhibit? What do we see in State's Exhibit 62?
A cell phone that was near the driver door and head of the deceased lady.
Now, Mr. Santiago, as part of your duties processing this crime scene, did you collect those items which were outside the vehicle?
1 and 2, number 1 and 2, I did collect. Number 3 was collected by one of the investigators, homicide investigators at the scene.
Now, I want to shift gears just a little bit and back up and we'll talk about that middle row of cars in the parking lot. Before I ask that, were there any other items that you picked up from that location there by the vehicle and the body?
Away from that area, there was a later cigarette butt.
So let's go to State Exhibit 63. Now, just for reference, this is that middle row that we talked about in that parking garage?
Yes, this is coming back up from that last ramp and making a right turn into that middle ramp, yes.
Okay, so in State Exhibit 64, we'll just start going down the left there, referencing 63, start walking down that direction. 65. Walk down some more vehicles. It's 66 we're looking at. Now parked next to this black SUV in the middle, and we can see the back end now. There's a silver SUV, 67. And on 68, I want to kind of make reference here to what's circled up there on the screen. Now, we go to 69, show you States Exhibit 69. What is that the item that we just circled in States Exhibit 68?
Oh, yes.
What is it?
Yes. It's a partially smoked cigarette.
Now, this isn't next to the body. It's not around the vehicle. Why did you go over there to collect this?
What we would do is walk around the area as best we could, which in this case was the other ramp, as we also did the bottom ramp, and we found this cigarette there that was obviously had not been run over yet and was in the fresh state. So it was picked up as possible evidence.
So just to be thorough, I guess, you pick it up to see if there's any evidentiary value to it?
Yes.
Now, what type of evidence would you possibly be able to recover from something like a cigarette?
DNA.
And at the time, you don't know whether this has any evidentiary value or not?
Not at all.
You just see it, based on your training, you pick it up?
Yes.
Mr. Gordon, would this be a good time for lunch break?
Sure.
All right, members of the jury, we're going to go ahead and take our lunch recess at 12 o'clock, and we'll be back in the jury room at 1 o'clock.
All rise.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Stevens.